folks, so something new here I'm trying. I'm going to be going between sort of atmospheric washes and representation. So something new I wanted to try and show everyone what I did. So let's get to it. See ya.
So today I'm going to start with a blank sheet of paper and a loose idea. One of the reasons I enjoy watercolor is it lets me explore. I may have a subject in mind, but I rarely know exactly where the finished painting will look like when I begin. First marks are intentionally simple. I'm establishing stems, some of the petals, and the direction before worrying too much about flowers. These early lines are going to act as a framework for me to organize everything that follows. If you're trying to paint along, try to think about movement first and details second. We're making a composition that fills the page. It's building on itself pretty much as the painting goes. As far as the techniques, I mean, pretty simple, right? Wet on dry with the stems, wet on dry for the initial petals, and now I'm adding in some color and letting it mix into what is essentially partially dry paint. Still looking for that final composition. I come in and spatter a little bit of the paint that I have when the color is still wet and accurate on the palette. So now I'm introducing more washes, more elements, right? So I'm going to pay attention to value and temperature. The goal here isn't just to paint flowers immediately, it's to create a foundation that can support one later. I often start lighter and think I need because it's much easier to darken the watercolors than to lighten it. Now I'm painting the negative space behind. I don't have any real image as to what this is going to be or look like. I'm just painting around the flowers and letting the watercolor do, well, what watercolor does. Obviously, the flowers are relatively dry at this point. Not completely, so I'm being really careful, but dry enough that I'm not going to mix the paint so much. And this is atmosphere, right? If it's too dark, I'm hitting it with a little bit of a paper towel. If it's too light, I'm giving it a little more value. Can you see how that starts to give an atmosphere to this whole painting? You'll notice I came in and dried it out a little bit so I can apply another glaze, right? Some of the technical parts of the painting. Just really picking up the value of this background of this. One of the most useful lessons in watercolor that I can share is learning to let layers accumulate gradually, rather than trying to achieve the final result all at once, which I tell you I did forever when I first started watercolor painting. Now I prefer to build the painting through a series of transparent decisions, or glazes if you want the technical term. You can see I'm still feeling out the overall composition. I think I'm getting close, so now I'm going to put detail back into the petals of the main characters of the painting. This is how you can see the flowers emerge. Now I'm starting to think about hierarchy. Not every bloom should have the same importance. A successful composition is often going to depend on creating a clear focal area while allowing other elements to play supporting roles. One easy way to create that hierarchy is by reserving your darkest values for the areas you want your viewers to notice first. And because of that, I'm going to keep going back into these coneflower petals. You can see how some passages or areas are going to remain loose and atmospheric. Those quieter areas are just as important as the more developed flowers. They provide the contrast and give the eye a place to rest. Leaving a few edges soft can often create more depth than adding additional detail. So at this point, the painting begins shifting from observation to interpretation. I'm no longer asking what a flower specifically looks like. I'm starting to ask myself what the painting needs to work. And I want your attention to go to the flowers that have enough activity around it to draw them away. Right? You'll see I'm going to spatter more later that helps give you that opportunity for the viewer's eye to move around. Something I've learned from my whole year and a half, 2 years maybe, painting watercolors, is a challenge of trusting that not every part of the painting needs to be finished. A partially suggested flower, like the ones on the left-hand side of the page, can feel more alive than one that's been completely described. I tell you, something that I've learned before calling a watercolor finished: step away for a while and then come back with fresh eyes, because your fresh eyes will reveal whether the painting needs another mark or whether it simply needs to tell you to stop. Okay, so we're zooming in, saying this painting is done. Thanks again for joining me today. If you've got something out of this, that's great. Think about subscribing. Talk to you in the future.